Welcome on Texas Football. I'm Bobby Burton. How are you doing today, guys? We have a special guest. Gerry Hamilton is alongside me, but the special guest is a young man named Sam Acho. And I say young, he's 35 now? I tell you what, Sam used to play. I remember him in high school, but now he is an accomplished person with ESPN, as well as he and his brother have just become media superstars or young media superstars as well, both Texas grads as well. Gerry, I'm going to let you kick it over to you and talk a little bit to Sam.
So I got to go back before we get to the now. I want to go back to high school because we were talking about this. I covered your recruitment, Texas fans out there that are maybe younger Texas fans. This guy picked Texas over USC, Sam did. So he either had to tell Matt Brown, Bobby Kennedy, and Oscar Giles no, or he had to tell Pete Carroll and Ken Norton no. Go back to your recruitment because I thought you were going to USC. A lot of people thought you were going to USC. Talk about how difficult that was to tell one of the top two coaches in college football at the time, I'm not coming to your school.
It was one of the hardest things I ever did, especially as a 17-year-old kid, Gerry. I remember not knowing. Let's put it this way, right? Let's go back to the story. So I think I had one offer from SMU. And I think the only reason I had that offer is because my high school tight ends coach went to a small school in Dallas, 80 people in my graduating class. My high school tight ends coach used to be a GA at SMU, and he's like, hey, let me pull a couple strings. That's what it felt like.
Right.
Well, all of a sudden, I go to a football camp at USC, and for lack of better terms, get discovered. I go there, and it's their top 300 camp. It's an invite-only camp. I didn't realize we weren't invited, but my brother and I show up. And they let us in the camp. And at the end of the camp, Coach Carroll calls me and about four other guys up to his office. And essentially, for lack of better terms, offers a scholarship. It's not officially. He said, hey, we're interested. We have another, the other top 300, right? The 150 you're here now. The next 150 you're going to be here in a couple of weeks. We'll be in touch. I said, okay, great. But I said, by the way, Coach, in a couple of weeks, I'll be on a flight going to Nigeria to do medical mission trips, or in Nigeria doing medical mission work. So if I don't pick up, it's because I have no network, not because I don't like you. And so fast forward 3 weeks later, I'm in the airport to get a call from Ken Norton Jr., and that's when they offered the scholarship. And they wanted me to verbally commit.
Right.
I didn't know what that meant, verbal commit. I didn't know none of this stuff. But all he said, Ken Norton said, hey, I'm here with Coach Carroll, and we're going to offer you a scholarship, and all you have to do is tell Coach Carroll these few words. Just tell him, I want to be a Trojan. And I'm sitting there like, okay, well, what does that mean? How does this work? He says, hey, here's Coach Carroll, and hands him the phone. And something in my, you were saying, man, you thought I was going to go to USC. I thought I was too, but something in my spirit wasn't sitting right about that interaction. I didn't know what verbal commitment meant. I wanted to take a couple of visits. That was my first real offer. Yet they were pressuring me.
They tried to squeeze you immediately.
Bingo. And if anybody knows me, you try to squeeze me, I'm going to squeeze back. And so I was like, after a couple of minutes of talking, Coach Carroll says, hey, Sam, is there anything you want to say? And I say, well, Coach, I would love the opportunity to one day consider the potential of being something like a Trojan. Hey, Coach, I got to go. The plane's taking off. He's like, wait, what? And he gives the phone back to Ken Norton Jr. And Ken's like, what's going on? I say, Coach, I'm going through security. Plane's taking off. I got to go. Hang up the phone, go to Nigeria, no service, no network. I'm thinking, like, I'm on the flight. I'm like, oh, my gosh, what have I done? I told my dad, I made the worst decision of my life. He's like, dude, son, forget about it. God's in control. Just come and do the work you were meant to do. So we're there for like 2 weeks just serving, no service, no nothing. Get back, and that's when the floodgates open.
Yep.
I landed in Newark, New Jersey, and that's when, like, I saw 50 missed calls, 37 voicemails from coaches all around the country because they had heard that USC had offered. Part one. Part two, my high school computer science teacher at St. Mark's, which is where my Rivals picture is, which is high school I went to, he put my highlight tape on Rivals. And then so USC offers, people see the tape, every school starts to call. And so that was how schools got interested. Now, the only school I didn't hear from, and I'm kind of telling you a little bit of the behind the scenes.
I love it. We love it.
You guys would know a little bit of the background. The only school that I didn't hear from was Texas. And I'm sitting there wondering, like, I knew Bobby Kennedy a little bit. I think we went to the same church and some of these guys. And I'm like, what's going on? We'll come to find out Mac Brown was on vacation while all this is happening. And the rule in Texas was, hey, when he's on his maybe 4 or 5 days, 7 day, whatever vacation, 7 days of the entire year, don't call Mac Brown. Well, we're like, hey, if y'all don't call, we're going to go to USC.
Yep.
And so essentially, I think one of the coaches sheepishly calls Coach Brown and says, this better be good. And I think they say it is. They send him like a DVD tape, and he says, hey, if Sam will wait a day or two, let's meet in Austin. I go, I meet them in Austin. And here's the thing that kind of sealed the deal for me is that all these schools talk about, hey, we're family atmosphere, family. I went to Austin. I sit down with Coach Mac Brown, his wife, Sally, my mom, my dad, me, my brother, and then they have Brian Arakpo, who's Nigerian, I'm Nigerian, and Chris Obanaya meet us as we're walking in. And so they talk about family. They met it part 1, part 2. We finally said this, right, about squeezing and not squeezing. USC was like, hey, you better commit right now, essentially. Coach Brown said, hey, Sam, usually we give people 24 hours to commit. We're Texas. We can take the best of the best. But you waited for us. We'll wait for you. Take as long as you need. And at that point, I was like, where do I sign?
That's why Mac Brown's the best recruiter to ever lived. He used USC against them and brought Sam to Texas. And you can just see that when he gets back from his vacation. Bobby Kennedy, who's this Acho fellow and what haven't we offered, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you can hear the conversation, right?
Yes. So it was great. He was just authentic and honest and real. And that's the thing I appreciate still to this day about Coach Brown.
Sam, I got to ask you a couple questions here. You are, I guess the best way to put it, a 4-year player at Texas, tremendous there, played I think a unanimous all-conference performer your senior year, played in a national championship game as well at Texas. Of course, that didn't come out the way we wanted it. Then you had an 8-year NFL career. Football's meant a lot to you. And now in your new role, you're continuing along with football. Talk a little bit about what you're doing now and that sort of thing.
Well, some of the stuff I get a chance to do now is not only I'm on ESPN, so I get a chance to be a college football and NFL analyst, and I speak. I've written 2 books. My first book is called Let the World See You, How to Be Real in a World Full of Fakes. My second book is called Change Starts With You. It just came out last year, Following Your Fire to Heal a Broken World. So I write, but also another role I've taken is helping athletes think about how to build generational wealth, right? So many athletes make all this money and then they lose it all. And so I played in the NFL for 9 years, was on the NFL Players Association for 10, was a vice president for 4. My second year in the NFL, I hear all these stats about 80% of players get bankrupt within 2 years of retirement, divorced, depressed, or bankrupt. And I'm like, dude, that's not a good business model. And so the last several years I spent trying to help athletes figure out not only how to make money, but how to build generational wealth when it comes to that wealth management, financial space, but also thinking about, man, who are you as a human?
I tell you what, I'm going to ask you this question, Sam. What do you think, building off of that? And I know you're limited on time because you've got a number of different interviews you have to do today. What do you think about the days of NIL now? Because if you're talking about building generational wealth, some of these young men are facing it 4 years earlier than what you did. Give folks your take on that.
And before you answer that, talk about how important the circle is around you for young kids now, because more people are trying to get at them in high school, including agents.
Yeah, so good. So I think the biggest thing I think about when it comes to generational wealth is your human capital. What do I mean by that? As football players, we think very much, okay, my body is my moneymaker, right? My physical capital, I'm going to go make money with my body. But also think about it, student athletes. You're a student and an athlete. So using your mind, we call it intellectual capital to try and build wealth. Then also people who you know, relationships, right? I wanted to do this interview with you guys. I saw you guys yesterday, like, man, we're talking, it's like that's called social capital. Well, all those pieces of your human capital, physical, intellectual, social, help build what I would call like your net worth or your gross income, right? Which, okay, taxes, et cetera, we can get into that. But the biggest thing is this: you have an opportunity at a young age to help change the generations of your family. And it comes to, some of that is money, some of that's talent, opportunity, skill, et cetera. But you don't want to waste it away. And so you have to be wise about who's around you, right? Wise about who you're getting advice from, how you're spending your time, your treasures, your talents. And so one of the roles I try to take is almost like a big brother role or a mentor role, trying to help guys walk through that path.
So I have so before we get to some questions about Texas and the SEC, that was great stuff, by the way. I got to ask you one thing. Dude, you ran a 6.69 L cone at the NFL Combine. That is a time reserved for corners, receivers, and running backs. I think you also blew the shuttle and L cone away at USC camp, and that's why they offer you. Like, what the hell? Did you time yourself? I mean, 6.69 at 262 pounds, dude. That's a ridiculous number.
It was amazing. So I got a chance to set a record there, but the biggest thing was that was a drill I hated. Like during training, I hated that drill. I was like, I don't want to do this drill. And by the grace of God, I'm no jokes. The week before we did a mock combine, and I think when I came into to train with Cliff Marshall at a place called Initiation, I ran like a 7.6, which is like middle of the pack, close to the end.
Right.
The week before, right after 8 weeks of training, I ran a 6.9 hand time. Like, man, if I could do a 6.9, that'd be great. But my trainer said, Sam, you're peaking at the right time, and I believed him. right? Not only did I believe him, but I kept on working at it. I go to the combine, run a 6.69, set an all-time record for defensive linemen at 262. And I remember the scouts were looking at their clock like, dude, this can't be real.
Same thing I just did.
You're right. They wanted me to run it again. I was like, I'll run it again to prove it. And then my teammates, my friends were like, dude, don't run it again. Stick with your time. And so I know I got to go now. We got to get together again. I appreciate you guys so much for your time. And this is awesome.
That is Sam Acho. Sam, you're a pleasure to talk to. Congratulations on everything that's happened to you in your life. You've certainly earned it and continue to earn it each and every day. We appreciate you and proud that you're a Texas Longhorn.
Thank you so much.
Welcome, buddy.